Hi, I'm Olivia Clarke. I'm the editor of the Chicago Daily Law Bulletin and Chicago Lawyer Magazine. And today we are with Tina Martini and David Susler. They're our columnists for the Inside Out column that appears in Chicago Lawyer Magazine each month. And they're going to be answering a few of our questions today. Well, I'm here today with our Inside Out columnists, Tina Martini and David Susler, and they are once again going to talk about what it's like to be an inside counsel and what it's like to be an outside lawyer. So I think we're going to start with our first question is, what are your top 3 pet peeves that the other side does, in terms of what in-house does and what the outside lawyers do?
Let's start with the good news first.
Okay.
Good news is, for the most part, I work with really good outside lawyers, and I'm generally very happy with the work they do. But even in the best of relationships, things sometimes arise, and if they do, normally I just call up my attorney and we'll take care of it, and it'll be resolved to my satisfaction. But I do have a few pet peeves, I have to admit, in no particular order. I'll give you 3 of them. The first, I would say, is poor work product. For example, if I hire outside counsel to draft a particular type of master sales agreement, product sales agreement, please don't give me back a form contract that I could write in my sleep. The next, I would say, is slow turnaround, especially if I've expressly stated the urgency of the product or the urgency of the turnaround. And this includes responding to voicemails, responding to emails, as well as providing written work product in a timely manner. I know we're all busy. And the last that I would mention is billing issues. Now, I understand, I've billed time for a number of years. I know billing is difficult, billing is time consuming. It's really an art form, it's not a science. And I've watched my wife spend hours almost every weekend for the last 10 plus years working on her bills. I know how much time she spends on it, and I know she doesn't bill her clients for it either. So I do try to keep that perspective in mind. However, some things do arise on bills from time to time that I see. And, I kind of made a list here. Things that bother me on billing are entries that don't adequately describe the work performed, entries that don't belong to that matter, not including time spent for each activity described, charging me to leave a voicemail for someone, especially if it's me, which I've seen, entries by lawyers and paralegals who I've never heard of, and I had no idea we're working on this matter. Receiving a bill for 1/10 of an hour, and that's the only thing there is on the bill. Mm-hmm. And you billing me for that initial consultation meeting when I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm even going to retain you. And I have to say, my all-time favorite was an outside attorney for a previous company I worked for called up the CEO of that company to invite him out for breakfast. It was clearly a social meeting designed to just strengthen the relationship, and no substantive legal matters were discussed. A few weeks later, we got a bill from that attorney for 2 hours of time for that breakfast.
At least he didn't bill you for the actual breakfast.
No, he did not. Thankfully for that. So my CEO and I looked at that bill, and we were both appropriately appalled. I said, no way. The CEO actually paid the bill and then called the attorney and said, don't ever call me again.
Sometimes the assumption that is made, which is that large law firm lawyers are always going to be more expensive than lawyers at smaller firms. And I think that misconception is a result of the conflation of 2 concepts, which is, the concept of hourly rates versus the ultimate value that is delivered to a client. And I do believe, based on my experience over the years of working with folks who are in large law firms and also having local counsel, for example, at smaller firms and having that experience too, that there are a variety of ways when a large law firm lawyer can actually be less expensive and deliver better value. And there may be a myriad of other perks as well that the large firm lawyer may be able to provide that really drive and deliver value in a way that's difficult to quantify. For example, by making introductions to their client with respect to business relationships or potential business relationships that, ultimately may be invaluable to the client. So I think bottom line, there needs to be a recognition that when you're having that cost versus value discussion, that there's a lot more to the discussion than meets the eye.
Okay, well, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.